If you ever heard that a poor drank his own palm wine, sit down, there is a story inside that calabash. A long time ago, in the quiet sun-drained village of Avere, where chickens roamed freely and grandmother's laughter floated like music in the air, lived a man named Baba Oloye. Baba Oloye was not a bad man, no. He was just too much. He had too much land, too many cows, too many yams in his barn, and yet, every time he saw someone else smiling, he wanted what they had too. If a child found mango and danced, Baba Oloye would cough and say, my own mango tree has sweeter fruits. If a neighbor roasted meat, he would wander close, pretending to admire the fire, while his nose chased the scent. He didn't do it out of need. He did it because his heart had grown fat with greed. Now, in Avere, nothing brought people like sweet palm wine. It was sweet, smooth, and full of stories. And every year, during the New Yam Festival, the village would hold the Grand Palm Wine Challenge. Whoever brought the best brew would win the golden calabash, a symbol of honor, wisdom, and respect. And that year, the drums beat louder. The talking drums called further, because the prize wasn't just the calabash. It came with a new title from the king, Chief of Sweetness and Truth. And oh, Baba Oloye wanted it. He wanted that golden cup. He wanted the praise. He wanted people to bow when he walked. He wanted it all. So he began planning and scheming. The very night Baba Oloye heard about the prize, he sat under his udara tree, rubbing his big round belly and whispering to himself, the sweetest palm wine? Why should I make it when I can take it? He had no shame. His own palm trees were old and tired. The sap barely flowed, but he had eyes, and those eyes were set on Pamalu, the gentle old tapper who lived by the forest edge. Now, Pamalu, he didn't say much. His back was bent like a question mark, his hands rough like tree bark, but his wine, oh, that wine could make a lion dance in circles, sweet, strong, and clear as mountain rain. Even the birds that drank from his dropping pots came back singing. So Baba Oloye showed up the next morning with a fake smile and a bag of roasted groundnuts. Pamalu, my old friend, how is the sun treating your back today? Pamalu squinted. The sun has never visited me so early. Baba Oloye, what brings you here with teeth shining like you won lottery? Baba Oloye laughed like he wasn't caught. Must I have a reason to visit my friend? I just came to greet you and maybe share some ideas. Ideas? Pamalu's brow grew. Yes now, this year's festival. Let's join hands. You bring your wine, I bring my wisdom, and we share the prize. But Pamalu's ears were older than his hair, and they had heard every trick in the land. He leaned on his tapping stick and shook his head slowly. No, Oloye, sweet things should be earned, not stolen. And with that, he turned back to his tree. But Baba Oloye's heart was not one that liked hearing no. So he left, muttering under his breath, we shall see who drinks the last drop. That night, under the full moon, while crickets played their quiet music and the air was thick with the smell of roasting yam, Baba Oloye sneaked into the forest. He tiptoed like a cat in slippers, carrying an empty calabash and a greedy grin. He found Pamalu's tallest tree, the freshest pot, the best sap, and he stole it, pouring every drop into his calabash. Let's see who wins now, he whispered, licking his lips. The next morning, Baba Oloye strutted through the village square like a turkey in wedding clothes. He wore his finest agbada, white and gold, with sleeves big enough to fly. Around his neck, 10 streams of cowries clicking like rain on a zinc roof. Behind him, a boy carried a heavy calabash filled with stolen palm wine. Easy, easy, Baba Oloye backed. That calabash contains victory. The villagers watched him with side eyes. Some muttered, where did he get palm wine this sweet in dry season? Others just shook their heads. But Baba Oloye didn't care. He was already imagining the cheers. At the festival, the square was alive. Drummers beat rhythms that made even old men's hips wiggle. Smoke rose from roasting meat. Children ran around with faces dusted in flour, and the king, Baba Oloye, sat on his carved stool, fanning himself with a peacock fan. Then came the announcement. Let the testing begin. One by one, the palm wine competitors came forward. Some wines were too sour, others too flat. One even made the king cough and shout, "Are you trying to poison me?" Then Baba Oloye stepped forward. He bowed low, grinning like a crocodile. "Great Oba," he said, "I present to you Oloye's river of sweetness." He poured a small cup from the calabash. The king sniffed it, eyes widened. He sipped. The drum stopped. The air paused. The Oba smiled. "This is the sweetest palm wine I have ever tasted." The crowd clapped. Baba Oloye puffed up. But just as the Oba raised the cup for another sip, something strange happened. The calabash began to bubble. Then a tiny whispery voice rose from it, low and echoing, like it came from the inside of a cave. "I was not made by your hands. I do not belong to you." The villagers gasped. "What is this?" Someone shouted. "Is it juju?" Another said. The calabash rattled like a snake. The boy carrying it dropped it with a yell. It rolled and cracked open with a loud pop. And from the calabash, instead of wine, a thick cloud of palm sap smoke. And in that smoke, a face appeared. It was Pamalu's voice, but nobody. A thief's cup may look golden, but it will always leak truth. And just like that, the sweet aroma turned sour. The king spat at the last sip. "Oloye, you stole this wine?" The villagers exploded in noise. "So that's why he was prancing like a peacock." "Shame," others said. Baba Oloye tried to run, but his agbada caught on a yam seller's basket and he tripped flat on the mud. Children pointed and giggled. Market women shook their heads and hissed. Elders whispered behind their walking sticks, "How can a grown man steal wine meant for the gods?" "Even my goat has more shame," another said. Baba Oloye, still face down in the mud, groaned. His agbada now looked like it had bathed in pepper soup. Slowly, he pushed himself up, his pride heavier than the mud clinging to his ears. Two tall guards grabbed him by the arms. To the palace they backed. Baba Oloye's eyes were no longer smiling. His peacock fan now fanned disgrace. He motioned for silence. The drums fell quiet. "Call the council of elders," he said, with a trembling voice. Within minutes, the oldest, most wrinkled-filled people in the village shuffled in, each one wearing a cloth that carried generations of knowledge. At the center was Mama Ireti, a woman whose eyes looked like they had seen creation itself. She looked at Baba Oloye with a long, slow blink. "Sit down," she said. Baba Oloye sat down. Well, collapsed more than sat. "So, you stole the wine?" I only borrowed it," Baba Oloye said. The crowd laughed. You borrowed wine and poured it into your calabash. Did you plan to return it? And after the king had drank it? Mama Ireti said. Baba Oloye scratched his head. I only wanted to win, he said to Mama Ireti. Even if the truth dies, Mama Ireti said. She sighed and turned to the king. Your Highness, this is what greed does. It doesn't just take, it rots, it ruins, and sometimes it embarrasses you in front of the whole village. The crowd nodded like talking drums. The Oba rose. What shall we do with him? He asked. Mama Ireti smiled a little. He must learn. Let him tap palm wine from scratch. No stealing, no shortcuts. Let him serve every elder a cup for 40 market days. 40! Baba Oloye screamed. Yes, and every child in the village too, even the ones with snotty nose. Baba Oloye shouted, Ah! And finished. And she added, he must return to Papa Malu and ask for forgiveness with a gift. The king clapped. Let it be so. The guards released Baba Oloye, who bowed his muddy head in shame, following the decree of the king. The next morning, the sun rose like a slow drumbeat across Abere, while roosters crowed and the smell of wood smoke filled the air. Baba Oloye stood under a palm tree with blisters on both palms. His agbada now gone. Now he wore a plain wrapper tied clumsily around his waist. No cowries, no shoes, just sweat and shame. Beside him stood Pamalu, quiet as always, his hands behind his back. You want to tap wine now? He asked, raising one brow. Baba Oloye nodded, pouting. Yes, Baba, I want to learn. Properly this time, he said. Good, Pamalu said, because this tree doesn't care for liars. And so began the longest 40 market days of Baba Oloye's life. He climbed trees slowly. He fell twice. He got chased by bees. He slipped a whole pot and cried like a baby. But slowly, the wine began to flow. And each morning, he carried his calabash from house to house. Good morning, Mama Ngozi, he said. Please, accept this palm wine from honest sap. The elders began to nod when they saw him. The children, even ones with snotty nose, giggled and said, Baba, wine is coming, oh. The villagers saw something rare. A proud man became a humble one. By the 40th day, Baba Oloye's palms were hard, his smiles soft, and when he returned to Pamalu with a carved stool and a basket of yams as a gift, the old tapper smiled. You have finally tapped the sweetest wine, he said. Which one? Oloye asked. The one inside you. They both laughed, a deep, full laugh that sounded like palm wine bubbling. Now, 1 year later, the next New Year festival, Baba Oloye didn't compete this time around. Instead, he sat beside Pamalu, pouring wine for others, listening to stories, and shaking his head when people asked, Ah, Baba Oloye, ain't you going to enter the contest again? No, my friend, he would say with a small smile. Some prizes ain't worth losing your peace. And when a young boy asked him why the golden calabash was empty that year, Oloye leaned down and said, Because true sweetness isn't something you steal. It's something you earn one drop at a time. And that should be a lesson to you all. I hope you have learned a valuable lesson from this story I have told you about what greed can do to the human mind. Please, until we meet again next time to continue with wonderful stories, have a wonderful day.